What's going on, you guys? We're back at it, man. Another Is It Good series. Where we do these group reviews where us and normally all the lords come together, but for this particular game, all the lords wasn't suitable for this kind of thing. No offense to the other lords, but we try to keep them alive, and we don't want their blood pressure getting too high, and we don't need to be doing that. So I got the one, the only Blaze 4K. What's going on, Blaze?
What up, Alex? It's a beautiful thing we're doing here. I'm actually excited to talk about it because I really haven't been able to talk to nobody about it other than, you. So it's good to vent this out because, I'm just excited to be here. And I appreciate the look from you guys. I salute all the Iron Lords. Thank you guys so much. And, yeah, happy to
No,
be here.
no problem. Here comes down to it. It's like when I was thinking, who can we get in here to do this? You were literally one of the only people I was thinking of because I know that this Soulslike game is your bread and butter, and I knew if there was anyone that would put the time required to at least, for the most part, put a good size into this game, it would be you. And so, for those of you that didn't know, we are here doing a group review of Wuchang Fallen Feathers. We were gifted codes by 505 Games. Shout out to them. Shout out to the studio. First off, I want to really give like a side thing to the actual studio that made this game. They are some of the most down to earth people that I've seen in quite a while. Because from the Summer Game Fest to just interaction in general, like they were like, yeah, we got you. Yeah, it's like I told you before, like it's not normal for when you go to these events that they're like, yeah, record what you want, we don't care. That showed that they are confident in this product. So we're gonna first start this off on if you've beat the game, and if you haven't, how many hours have you put in the game? I want to keep this spoilers free for the most part. Be light spoilers here and there, but
Okay.
we're not going to really deep into it too much in the ground school thing. So, Blaze, what was your progress on Wu Chain Fallen Feathers?
Well, I beat the game. I actually ended up finishing the game. Two nights ago? So 2 days ago. I would say Steam is saying 80 hours, but I kind of left the game on here. So I really want to say I clocked in 55, 60 hours to be fair. But I did beat it. I am on New Game Plus. I'm halfway through the game. I would say again. Yeah, I wasn't sure how long this game was, because I kept running into another boss that would pulverize me for beat my ass for an hour, for 2 hours, for three. Say I don't want to, and like I didn't know how long this game was, but I enjoyed it every moment, every step,
Yeah,
every boss.
so I haven't beat it, which is interesting because most of the time when we go into these, I usually do beat these games. But I did hit a big ass wall on a boss. Well, I had a couple actually. I did hit a couple. I got through
Yeah,
most of them, but that last one kept me there for about a day. So I wasn't able to beat it. Got about, I would say, 45, 50 hours in it myself. I think Steam clocks me at almost 70, 60 or something like that, like 55, 60. But I know a couple, maybe an hour or two of that's just sitting on like the starting soon screen or something. But I didn't leave it on that much because I usually shut it down immediately. So I know a lot of that's not there. Curious when it comes to performance because I know a lot of people are going to wonder that, especially PC people. Uh, I did play on PC. I have an AMD build.
yeah,
I don't know what the actual one is. So you tell yours while I look at mine.
yeah. I got a 3090, and I got for the CPU I got the 9800 X3D. And I've been playing on an ultra wide 1440p for the most part, maxed out, completely maxed out, not ultra extreme. But I seen that it could dip here or there, but I just reeled it back to ultra, which is still the game looks really really good. And I got consistently 70 to 80 FPS, sometimes more, sometimes just give or take, but it floated in that little pocket, 70 to 80 FPS. Um, yeah, performance was pretty good, for this is a UE5 game, I mean, coming from
Considering
the
how
other.
demanding these games have been, I
Right,
was very
right.
surprised how well it ran.
Yeah, me too. It ran really well. I was actually shocked on that, but this is what I expect. I feel like this game has been. I seen a trailer. I went back and looked up the game. I think they put out a trailer in 2021. It was when they first showed off like a little gameplay, and it was completely different. Like just the way the items look and all the stuff they change. They work so much at it. Like if you see what the developers have done from the first initial trailer, where you walk out of the cave when you first start, the items look totally different. They're like there's no, you can tell they polished this game. Like, I'm serious. I want you to go check that video out when you're done. It's a
Okay, yeah.
massive, huge improvement.
Yeah, I definitely would do that. So I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not a PC person. I can only read my specs off. It is up to you guys to determine whether or not it's gonna run on your rig. I have an AMD Radeon RX 7900 XTX, and I have an AMD Ryzen 7 7800 3D 8 core processor with 32 gigabytes of RAM. I don't know if that's good. I don't know if that's bad. I don't know anything about computers to really tell you, especially AMD stuff. Like so that's pretty much what we got going for there. So first thing I want to start off is the story, world building, immersion. I feel like these type of games that really expire from where Wuchang would originate from. The Soulslike games. I think like Liza P. A lot of games that spawn, from that type of vein. And one of the biggest things that they always have is the world building, the immersion, how you feel. Do you feel like it's a living world? Because it's not always about story. And I do want to branch a little bit about the story too, but the biggest thing I really want to go over is just that world building and lore. Did you feel like you was living in the Ming Dynasty areas? Like, how did you feel going into this in terms of that?
I thought the world was pretty, they did enough, every area, different like biomes, they did enough to keep things interesting and fresh. You know what I mean? They had the classic, hey, this area is you're gonna hate, the poison. They had the classic Souls, what we expect from a Souls game, like what type of areas you're gonna get. But overall, I mean, if we're talking about level design, I'll never forget it. I think it was chapter 2 where you're swinging back around and you end up coming back into the temple from the opposite side. And I mean that right there was like wow, because you're not used to seeing that. Like I'm not used to seeing interconnective levels that they just all connect. And like the first especially I would say two areas are super impressive of how they interconnect. I mean, pathway unlocks that pathway, unlocks this way. If you push a tree down, you can get on top of the temple, come down. Like I thought it was really cool how interconnected everything was. I thought the graphically too, if we're talking about just like level
Yeah,
design,
world
it was
building in
excellent.
general, that would be
Yeah,
graphic.
yeah, it looked great. I was impressed from the beginning when I first got out that cave, and I was like, wow, this game is gorgeous. You know what I mean?
Get out the cave, have to drop down immediately. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, this game is. Listen, can I just say, Attic, this is one of the most addicting Souls likes games I've ever played. Like I'm just telling you, I was addicted, and like that happens. I like these games, but not to the point where, I mean, I was getting my ass, handed to me. Okay.
it would be. It's hard. Like I was fighting someone in a forest, and that's all I'm gonna say. And I'm not even joking, Blaze. Like first off, the
I know what you're talking about.
the set pieces when you fight people are beautiful. Everything,
Yeah.
the the drop backs, like for instance, like that you were talking about, like the level design. I would say the only other time I felt that way when you open that door and you connect to like the first barrels of the game is I remember there's a part in Dark Souls, the original one, where there was this white pipe that had a locked door in it for like ever, and it was at the beginning of the game. And I remember thinking, why is this door locked? How I unlock it? And like damn near towards the end of the game, you unlock that door and go back to the first area. And
Cra-
that is the sensation I felt when I opened up that and realized where I was.
Yeah. No, it's a treat when it happens, when they have the interconnective level design. And I thought, like I said, I my first impressions is like you get out there. I remember I called you. I'm like, hey, are you dying to like normal enemies, like, or am I just completely lost all skills? Aliens came down and just stole my, like, I was dying to like regular enemy. I'm like, yo, what? Like, no,
Yeah,
there's something wrong here.
I would say in terms of world building and like the terrains. Look, I myself might have been more annoyed going through some of the terrains than the everyday person because like there's a lot of good terrains. And I think it was
Yeah.
mainly frustration more than like how it was set up because there's a lot of terrains and a lot of levels and a lot of landscaping in this game that I was completely annoyed with. I ain't gonna lie, and it wasn't like it was bad. It was like it was annoying, man. They got these like hazard stuffs all throughout the game, and I'm not even joking. You can ask Blaze. We was in a Discord, and I kept saying, if I land on one more of these things, so help me God. And it was a beautiful area, but sometimes there's a bunch of bullshit with beauty, like so.
Yeah, the hazard, the environmental traps. There's a bunch of that. I'm not gonna get into. I'll just let you guys experience. But there's a bunch of that.
And
A bunch.
they'll sneak up on you. You won't even
Yeah,
see them, and you be like, and keep in mind, you can ask Blaze. These will do significant damage to you.
yeah. And but the kicker is if you have a tough enemy, a big, massive, you got a bunch of people on you, you can use the environmental traps in your
Yeah,
favor if you're smart about it.
and I'll
You
give
know,
them it. A lot of other developers that make these type of games, they wouldn't have done that. They would have made them only triggerable with you.
for you, right?
And I like that
Yeah.
this developer took that and said, look, we're going to annoy the hell out of the character, out of the player, but we're also going to give them tools that they can use to their advantage so it's not just a negative. It's kind of like you're evening out because you can use it. And I remember there's one time where your Blaze was in the Discord with me and I was going around this like little village thing and he's like, yo, there's one right there, man. And I went and aggroed this bigger ad and made him go over it and it did damage to him. And then what? It took like one hit to kill him after that. Like,
No, it's listen. There is some beautiful areas, but there's also some areas where you're gonna have a hard time traversing through. You, the thing about these games, especially Fallen Feathers, is you got to be patient. You got to be patient and move methodically through these areas because if you just try to, sometimes listen. I know once you get used to the areas and you're running towards certain, bosses, or you're rushing to a boss, or say you know where you got to go, but there's certain areas in this game where it's gonna make you slow down and pay attention. And if we're talking about just never mind the world, but then you got these certain enemy types that are, whew, annoying. Man, you remember those little enemies that'll have half their bodies cut off and they just come out of the ground? Like, dude,
yeah,
those things,
yeah.
those to you might have not been annoying, but to
They
me,
weren't annoying to me. I'm gonna be honest.
oh, to me
It,
they were annoying. That's what annoyed me. Me and you probably got different
you see,
perspectives on what's annoying.
that's what I love about these type of games. Let's get straight into the combat. I think that's the biggest thing with
Yeah.
these games, and that's what the biggest thing that these type of games have to offer is the combat. And I will say, playing this combat is very good. Skill tree, combat, the way the character moves. I felt like when I died, it was from my bullshit, not the game's bullshit.
Yeah, brother. If you died, it's because
Now,
you didn't dodge.
yeah,
You parry correct.
I
Yeah.
I will say, and I'm just gonna say this. I don't care if it upsets people. It is bullshit that they can hit you going up, getting up. Like they're a program. Bosses are programmed to hit you with something heavy to take the majority of your health, and they are programmed knowing that you're gonna try to roll on your feet to hit you the moment you're halfway up, because they can hit you on the ground. Now I don't know if like maybe it's a glitch or something, or maybe it doesn't work because
You can get them on the
sometimes
ground too.
yeah, but sometimes I felt like it wouldn't hit me on the ground. It would only be when I would try to to like jump up on my feet instead of getting up regularly. Like you can bounce backwards, bounce sideways, left to right. I felt like the only times I got hit is when I was trying to get up too fast, because then it felt like they were actually hitting me. Now, if I just sat there and let them finish their combo, there's a lot of the times I can get away and not get hit. But if I try to rush myself up, I was getting killed almost instantly, because they would. It's like the computer knows he's on the ground. Get him.
Yeah, no. Listen, the combat is the highlight to me for this game. Yes, the game is gorgeous. The level design is excellent, but the combat is what's going to keep you coming back playing this game. The combat is excellent. I mean, it is so addictive. It is so great, and it rewards you for just learning and learning. Like, you know, there's gonna come a time in this game, people, where you're gonna play this game and you're gonna feel like you have no hope. You're gonna tell yourself, there's no way I can beat this boss. There's no way. I remember me and Addict's like, yeah, dude, I can't beat him. And I'm like, yeah, Addict, I can't beat him either. Like, we might as well
And then
just
we
stop
both
playing.
ended up beating her.
Yeah, you know, and it's just like it's got that effect on you where you just got to be patient, and you just got to stick with it, and like you will master these bosses. That's what I love about the game. It's so personal. Like you master to the point where you know every single move they're gonna do. You know what I mean? First phase, second phase don't matter. You're aware, you're ready for these moves, and it teaches you not only to be patient, but it teaches you that, hey, look, you know, you think you can't do it, and then you come back and you chip her down a little bit more and a little bit more and a little bit more, and then soon you know, you're going into the second phase, you got damn near all your health ready, and you end up beating. It's so rewarding, this game. It's so satisfying. They have a parry system that I recommend that people go immediately unlock. Go down to the katana, go and unlock.
Makes things
it
a lot
immediately.
easier when you have that.
Absolutely.
I will say the katana, or longsword is what it's actually called, is the GOAT that I played with. It was the most well balanced. Now, obviously, let's talk about the weapon variety. There's a dual sword, there's a spear, long sword, which is the katana, an axe, one-handed. There's a one-handed sword as well. Is that all? I think 5. Is that it? But there's a lot of weapons.
Variants of those.
So for instance, like a long sword, like there's I was able to acquire a flame sword. I was able to acquire like a whip sword that broke out into different things. They all have their own unique positives and negatives. They all have their own little abilities with them. There is a thing called discipline that you can change some of them depending on what you do in the skill tree, and we'll get to the skill tree here in a second. How many of the weapons did you use? And if you did use multiple of the weapons, which ones would you say is the best one?
I used the long sword primarily the most. Then I started using the axe. Once I realized, you can get them in that animation, knock them back, knock them down. It really came in handy, but not the axe, Addict. It was the axe type, but it was the one that spewed out the I don't know if it's blight or whatever, that would chew down bosses. I remember telling you, Addict, you need to use this weapon. Can we get the name of this thing, Addict? Let me see if I can find it.
Yeah, you look for the name. I used the long sword. There was a boss that I got stuck on that Blaze I kept respecking, because you can respec your tree. You can respec it as many times as you want. There's no penalty. There's no payment. You can respec as much as you want, and I really appreciate that, because you're able to really thoroughly go out there and find out exactly how much you want to do into anything. One thing I will say about weapons and system in general is there's no weight system in this game, which is very interesting, because can you name another Soulslike game that just completely threw away the weight?
There might be. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if.
And that's including axe, anything. You will go exactly the same speed you're going at now. And I will honestly say, I don't want every Souls-like game to do this, but I really like that I can literally go in there with any variety of combo or armor, and it didn't really affect me a whole lot. Now, to my understanding, maybe there were heavier armor that I just didn't notice, because I just chose whatever stats appealed to me. Not necessarily, I didn't even really look if it slowed me down or not. There's a bunch of different status effects. I will say the despair in this game needs to be toned down a little bit. Sometimes when you come across despairing areas, and that's pretty much like Is that like Fear in From Software, where
Yeah,
you just
before I
die?
forget,
Okay.
the war club axe. Okay, it's a green axe, but it looks more like a club, but it's considered an axe weapon type. That thing, trust me, you utilize it. That's where we're skipping that whole part too, Attic, is the whole counter system. When you dodge perfectly, when you get a perfect
Yeah,
parry,
well,
you
that's when we go into
the
magic.
skill tree
Yeah,
and
magic and
stuff
skill
like that.
tree.
But yeah, I
Because despair, I think, is fear in other games, or something like
right.
that. But essentially, there's a counter. Once you get to the top, you die automatically. Like these things come out from your back. I do think that needs to be tuned a little bit, because there'd be
Yeah,
areas that I go into that I don't even know that it's there, because it's like on the bottom floor or the top floor. And there's like, if there's multiple, it's a wrap. Like you die almost immediately. And I
yeah,
think, like, here's my thing. Like, I always for putting obstacles that are obstacles and not just a nuisance, because all you realistically have to do is just switch stuff out. But if you have something and you went with something for like another encounter or a boss fight, and you get to these areas and you have almost no despair resistance, you are gonna die immediately. You won't even know. You'll know what killed you? Obviously despair. But a lot of the times you can ask Blaze, you won't even see where the despair is.
right.
You'll just
And
die.
the meter builds up quick, and they have things to counteract all these things that are, affecting you, but it happens so quickly.
You
Usually
can't
with
even
blight or
really react to
right,
it.
right. Well, with this, blight and corruption stuff like that, your meter will go up, and if it exceeds the meter, you will start to lose health. But
See,
this is the meter goes off and you're dead.
yeah,
That's
and
it. There's
the
no.
blight is different, because you have to physically be hit by something like a projectile or something, and
It's
pretty
like
much what.
cursed,
Yeah.
addict. It's like cursed in Dark Souls. You know the frogs, and you turn into the stone.
Hmm.
It's scary. It's feared like that. It happens quick.
Yeah, and
You
see, a
know.
lot of the times people will have there's like these crystals, and they are the ones that illuminate despair, and some
Right.
of the ads will walk around with that bitch.
Hmm.
So you have to be really, visual. I think that's probably one of the biggest criticisms I give for the game, is like sometimes when I would come across that despair and I would be like halfway to like another checkpoint or something, and it would just literally, I see it go up, I notice it, I turn around to leave the area, and I'm already dead. That's how fast. Like, and I feel like, look, it's okay for like the blight, and what blight essentially does is it poison. It's not poison because it doesn't reduce. There's an actual poison. It's called corrupt, but it like it's what's you've made a good analogy. Dark Souls, when you have to use the bone thing. I can't remember what it was. To become alive again.
The bone. Oh my god. Oh
When
my
you're
god.
dead in Dark Souls and you have to use something to come back to
Oh,
life
it's like a human,
to
like
get
a
your
human
full
effigy.
health. Yeah, human effigy. So essentially, that's what blight is. It's like you have that part of your bar of your health
Yep.
that's non-usable, but it
Right.
keeps going down as long as you have blight. Now, I will say blight, I feel, is pretty balanced. I felt like that
Yeah.
blight goes up. That blight goes through pretty fast. Now, if you get hit with blight and corruption, you might be dead. Like,
Yeah.
and that's another thing. You can get hit with multiple status effects at the same time.
Yeah. Then I know someone's like, "Who? How you gonna get hit with both?"
It's easy.
It'll happen. Yeah.
There's sometimes they'll put, because a lot of ads in this game, a lot of creatures give you status effects. There's a lot of creatures that give you status
Yeah.
effects. Almost, I would say the bulk of the creatures give you status effects, especially if they're non-humanoid.
Right.
So
And then, and yeah, and speaking of humanoid, I feel like there's a lot of humanoid bosses, right? Especially early on. And I don't know what you prefer, but I feel like a lot of people like the one-on-one,
I prefer to
more
fight
human.
humans. Yeah,
Yeah, you like the human nature. There's, don't get me wrong, there's big giant monsters in this game too,
quite a bit of them. He's just
right.
saying
So
that if you desire that one-on-one, and it's not even just humanoid, they have weapons, they have swords, they have spears. I didn't come across
magic,
a boss yet that has a big shield. Have you? Did you? Well, we
no,
won't answer that, but I don't know. Keep in mind this game is pretty big. I'm sure there's bosses I missed at some point, because there's a lot of achievements for bosses, and I think I missed a couple, but I don't know. But look, it comes down to it, man. Like weapon variety, how the combat is, how the dual stance system is, how the the your stances are all top notch. I will say that. Now we can get to the magic and the upgrade system. So the magic on here is essentially they go off of your feathers. Now she wakes up at the beginning of the game and she has something called feathering, and feathering is essentially like a plague in this game. Feathering is a plague that is killing people, but for some reason it's not killing her. And it's not killing people. It's making them. It's mutating them into like these creatures.
Right.
But it's not doing her. So she's using these abilities that this mutation's given her, but it's not made her go crazy. It's like essentially someone from Last of Us catching the spores disease. And they're becoming clickers, but they're not losing their mind. They're using the clicker powers to their advantage.
Right.
So it's interesting, and I really want you to talk about, because you played a lot. Like, I've played a lot of Souls-like games, but you played a lot of variety of Souls-like games, like different forms. Most of the time, I play one way, almost one way entirely. But I feel like out of both of us, you played Souls games from a different perspective more than I have. And how would you say in terms of magic? Because I felt like they did a good job balancing magic in this game, to the point where I feel like this is the best magic balanced Souls like I've ever played. Because a lot of people complain, oh, you ain't no real, you didn't beat that game if you use magic. It's not a spray and pay with magic on this game.
Yeah, this is an Elden Ring. So you first of all, you're gonna have to earn your magic. That's the difference here. You know you're gonna earn your magic, and what I mean by magic is the more feathers, the more you go through this upgrade tree, you can upgrade your feathering. But the magic is earned, right? And
Well,
they
what is
also
that thing
have
called?
this-
It's called can't remember what like Strike Force or something like that. It's called something. You keep going and I'll look at what that's called.
Yeah, no. Well, what I'm saying is, there's consumables for you to get your feathers, your feathers to your full ability. You can consume these things and have them ready. But magic in this game, they have a bunch of spells here. They have a lot of spells here, guys. Different abilities, lightning, fire, a bunch of stuff. You're gonna get spells from bosses, right? After you beat certain bosses, certain spells will unlock for you. And I just think it balances enough where you just can't spam magic. Like, you can, but even when I had magic at my disposal, I used it
Skyborn
accordingly.
Might. That's what they're called.
Skyborn Might.
Skyborn Might.
Yeah.
That's the feathering. And what I like
Yeah.
about it, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, Blaze.
No, you're good.
Essentially, what he's saying is, like, you dodge. There's multiple ways you can get Skyborn Might. What I like
Right.
is they even, because it would be an issue, because I think I have 5. I think you can only max out at 5. You can get abilities to make it to where you don't use as many with certain abilities if you get certain things on the skill trees. But I think max is 5, maybe 6. I don't know. Did you have 5 or 6?
I Attic, don't.
It's
quote me.
around
I
that
don't-
area. It's around
Yeah,
that
yeah.
area. We're not gonna like put definites on anything. But
Yeah.
what I like about it is every time you get one of those Skyborn, it glows a different color. So as long as you see a glow where that feathering is, 'cause like I said, she's been infected with something that's turning people crazy, mutating them. But instead,
And
it's
you'll see her arm continue to morph and
yeah,
get bigger.
it's right. I don't know if you could see it, but you see these featherings right here. That is the feathering, and essentially what's going on is, like, when other people in this world get infected, it takes their face, it takes their back, it morphs their whole body, but it's really just on her arm. And the interesting is when you do get these Skyborn counters, it glows different colors and it gets brighter and brighter. And like you'll know when you can use magic because it will be glowing. And when it's not glowing, it means you have no Skyborn might counters, and you have to
And
like
you also
do
have I know people are wondering, well, what about if there's also a meter at the bottom that shows how much.
yeah,
you
it's
have
at
as
the
well.
bottom left. But what I
Bottom left,
like
yeah.
is in the midst of battle, sometimes you don't have a time to look over there. So when you're
Right.
sitting there, you're wondering, do I have enough? Because you use these Skyborn mites for everything in this game. So for instance, I had a big thing on heavy attacking fast and backstabbing people. And Blaze can attest this is a very effective way you should do it. and what you would end up doing is you have to use one of those Skyborn mites to do the ability faster. Now you could do the heavy attack naturally, but it's mad slow. But if you have one of these Skyborn Might things that's on your shoulder, it does it quick.
Quick.
What I like is everything in this game is on this system. You can do stuff, but if you have enough Skyborn Might, you'll do it better and stronger. Everything in this game.
Yeah, and I remember Attic was you were fighting a boss, and I said, Attic, you have to use the Skyborn counters to your advantage. You're not using them to your advantage. You're using it only as a backstab, as a power, like a strong R2. And I'm like, use the counters in this game, which is the Skyborn, which you can equip different move sets, magic, and all that. When you get a perfect dodge on a boss or and you use these counters, they are devastating to the enemy, to the opposition. They help out tremendously. And I just, there's so, the good thing about all this is just there's so many ways to go about it. If you want to be a traditionalist and just, heavy attacks and just running pokes, you can do all that. But, if you want to be more, if you want to go magic, and I just love that this game makes you go back to the drawing board. And let's get into the skill tree here, because I really want to talk about that.
It's massive.
It's I don't want to say Valhalla, like
nah,
did you ever open up the skill tree for Valhalla? It was like, but like it's big, it's pretty big, and it might look intimidating.
And what they do is they branch it out. You won't see it all at the beginning. You only see it when you get to the ends, and it keeps expanding. They do that intentionally so you don't get intimidated. So the only time you get intimidated is because you went too far on one area. Like, you're only going to see the trees that you go into. Now, once you start going into, they'll expand more and more. It is a pretty sizable skill tree. I have to give them that. Like, this is a good way. Now, they replaced the traditional Souls-like, where you put attributes into, like, your strength, vitality, agility. They replaced that with this system. But I have to honestly say, I prefer that system because I feel like I have more control. But I did not hate this system. I felt like this is the best system. I've seen other companies that try this type of gameplay out. That's not that system.
And Attic, how good is it when you hit rock bottom, you're dying to the same boss, you've been here for an hour, they let you instantly respec.
Everything.
You don't need
money,
an item.
Nothing.
Yeah, you just respec completely and go. If the katana's not working out for you, you want to go to the dual blades. You want to go up the axe. It's awesome that they immediately let you do it with no remorse. You can play around and get the best build possible.
And what I enjoy about it is the weapon upgrades is in the skill tree. They're not like some blacksmith that you talk to. So if you upgrade them, you're going to, like, let's say I have the entire longsword maxed out. I do have the whole longsword maxed out. I'm in another tree right now trying to get the ability nodes that help the longsword. So I'm in other trees right now. So let's say I decided I'm done with the longsword. I want to try axe. I want to try to play differently. And I just completely, and it's not like you eliminate the whole tree. You can eliminate sections. So let's say there's 5 down here and I go to this one up here. It just eliminates these 5. It doesn't make you redo them all. It just eliminates the one that you've picked and anything past that. So you can go straight to the first node in the longsword, and when you refund that one, it only refunds that downward. So it's just the longsword node, and then I can go to the other one. And there's no scenario where it's like, damn, I put all of my resource into upgrading this longsword. As long as you put that same amount of energy into the axe ones, because they're all at every one. Everyone has these upgrade materials nods where it's like the perfect sword or the perfect axe. I can't remember what they're called. But you can essentially take those exact materials that you have for the longsword and upgrade the axes too. So you only really have to grind finding the weapons. You don't have to grind upgrading them. And I love that. And that means everything in that genre. So every long axe is going to be the same level. Every axe is going to be the same level. Let's say you want to switch around between multiple weapons in the same, like katana, and I had like another fire katana. You can do that and they'll both be max level because that is what you have chosen in that section.
Right. That's a great point, Attic, because if you like you said, if you want to use the axe and then you find a different axe, but you're like, oh man, now I got to spec into this axe. No, they're all spec'd accordingly as a group, right? So axes are spec'd katana, dual sword. So it's really good. They save your time. They're not here to waste your time with that. And like I said, the ability to just on the fly completely go a different angle and say, hey, you know what, I'm gonna start working on the long sword, and see what I get out of it. And you don't feel like you're like, oh my gosh, should I waste this upgrade tree? There's no
Not
wasting.
one
You
time
just
in this game
respect.
did I feel like I wasted anything. Not one
Yep,
time. And I will
I agree.
say, previous Souls like I'm even going to go this far. From Software, you need tech notes. I'm
Mm,
going to be honest with you. From Software, there'll be sometimes I want to try new weapons out, but I'm like, I've already came too far with this weapon. This is a better system that's been in those games because it makes me feel the only difficulty I have in this game is being that boss. It's not the systems in the systems.
right.
Yeah, so let's talk.
Telling for software to take notes is.
No, no,
But you're right.
just
You're
this
right.
one
You're
particular
right. You're
thing.
right.
Like
You're
it's
right.
just,
No, you're
it's
right.
like, look, man, like it felt really
They don't
nice
change.
seeing another sword and
Right.
knowing I could just click that bitch and use it if I
Yeah.
wanted to. That's just me.
You,
Obviously, if people like that, it is what it is. We can disagree on that.
you just told my mom to take notes. I'm just letting you know.
It's cool. It's cool. I do it again. I don't mind. Let's talk about the armor and stuff, man. First off,
Ooh.
this
Yeah.
game has a transmog system, so don't feel like you're going to be locked into one armor or another armor. You can play anything in this and make Wuchang look any way you want. And trust me,
Fashion.
there's some
Ooh.
crazy outfits in this game.
Fashion souls is a real thing in this game. Listen, like, there's a lot of similarities in this game to, what would you say, Bloodborne, Sekiro, when you got all the
Mhm.
abilities and you finally get to do what you like you. But what I'm telling you, the one thing I appreciate about this game is the ability to change up the armor, to change up the look of your character, right? Because they have vendors where if you beat a boss, you can go, you can trade something in, and it'll unlock different new masks, different new armor pieces, and so on and so forth. And you're gonna find also a bunch of armor pieces, and also you're gonna find them on just regular enemies, killing enemies, finding just looting good armor and stuff like that. The thing about the fashion souls is it is in full effect. I mean, this girl was walking out, and listen, I'm just gonna be honest. All the jiggle and wiggle are in those armor. Like, some of these armors look really good, really sexy, awesome. They changed it up a lot. They got masks. They got so much. I don't want to spoil it, like, because it's so enjoyable to get a new armor piece in this game because it just changes the whole look of her. And I just love what they've done with the armor system here. And again, if you like the stats to one armor set, but you like the way the other one looks, you don't have to fight with that. You can just, like he said, there's just transmog, and you just equip it, and you just use the stats of whatever set armor piece, but you look how you want to look, and
Yeah.
that's the most important part.
And trust me, you could look. There's
Oh,
some crazy stuff in this game. Look, I
yeah,
will say, some companies have took this further, way further.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Wu Chong, for the most part, most of her outfits are, I would say, like on the borderline of inappropriate, but it never really goes that far. I've seen, like, it's nothing like Stella Blade, but
But listen. I have multiple, like, they're not called legs. They're called like
they're
you
called
you can find
panties, pretty
multiple.
much.
Yeah, bro, you find
Underwear
thongs in the game.
garments, like.
Yeah, there's thongs in this shit. Like,
Well, you have more
crazy.
than I didn't really experiment stuff like that. I wanted my chick to look like a war chief or something. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And I will say, like, I really like the fashion you can have. She's got like the pins that she could put in her hair. If you don't want to wear armor, you could wear those pins. I feel like a lot of women are going to really enjoy this. There's a lot of women in the Souls community, and it really, the fact that they have those pins like that, a lot of games don't have stuff like that. Like, it's very fashion like in the
Yeah.
China type of fashion. So I have to really give my props off to that. And it's just like, what I like is it's choice. If you want Wu Chang to go out there and pretty much wear nothing, then that's your choice. And there's a couple that, it's like I said, most of her outfits don't go that direction, but there are a couple that go that direction.
Yeah.
A lot of the armor that you see people walking around with, if you kill them enough, I've noticed they drop armor. I'm assuming that's their armor, so I think it's that type of thing. There's been a few Souls-like games that do that, where if you beat the enemies, you can get their armor. So pretty much whatever you see, in my opinion, you can get. I don't know. Maybe they just drop in random armor and it's not their armor, but I'm thinking it's their armor.
Right. No, it's awesome. I love the art. Listen, that's big for me. That's why Sekiro was always a great game. But I'm like, you're using the same
No,
sword
nothing. Yeah,
with the
nothing.
same robe. It's like, damn.
All right,
You know, so I really enjoy that part of it, man.
let's talk about boss design.
Mm.
How many bosses would you say? Actually, let's not do that. I'm going to say a number, and you go above or below if you fought more, okay? If you feel you fought more. Obviously, you probably don't have a number of how many you fought. 15 bosses.
More?
Do you think you fought more than 15 or under 15?
Yeah. I think I fought more than 15.
Oh, yeah. I would say there's probably 25 to 30 bosses in this game. I would say. I don't know.
Attic, I wasn't keeping count, but, just multiple phases of like, the bosses in this game, they have their second. There is a few times where there's going to be a second phase, and they completely change how they fight. Like, there's a few bosses that their dynamic is completely changed. A lot more aggressive, a lot more. Oof, man, the bosses in this game are not only some of the most memorable bosses, but they're the most personal boss. Like, I wanted to destroy that. Like, when I tell you some of these bosses had me losing sleep for a couple hours, like I was at work and I'm like, I gotta get home and beat the brakes off this boss. Like, I need to be home and I need to beat this boss. You know what I mean? And me and
funny
Attic was ahead of me.
It was like the second or third night because I was technically ahead of Blaze at that time. And he's like, man, I'm about to call in. I'm about to call in to work. That's what this game is doing to me. And then I was like, nah, Blaze, go to work. Like, don't worry about that. We got like a week and a half to play this game, Blaze, because, shout out to them. I love when developers give us plenty of time to play a game.
That's
and
awesome.
Blaze can attest, we had plenty of time to play this game.
Yeah. And Attic, like you said, you haven't beaten it, but the game doesn't come out for another, 5 days?
Yeah, I'll have it. I don't know. I might not have it beat before the game comes out.
I think you will.
I know the boss I'm on now. I ain't gonna lie, man. I will say I'm having progress, but it's like we said. I've only fought, this particular part like 3 times, and it's like Blaze said. The first couple times you fight these bosses, it really feels hopeless. It feels like, man, I think this is messed up. This is not how this is supposed to be. I've gotten a bugged version of this game.
They need to nerf it. They need to buff it. Yeah. Listen, Attic is not. I mean, you're like I said, you're gonna get your butt kicked from some of these bosses and feel like, yeah, I just can't beat it. I remember telling Attic, I swear, I was like, Attic, yeah, bro, I can't beat it, bro. I can't.
Yeah,
like,
and we was in a party and he was fighting someone ahead of me. And he's like, dude, I'm done. I can't do this. Obviously, he's just raging because he's playing while he's saying this. And we're just sitting there, and I'm fighting someone completely different, like 3 or 4 bosses before him. And then I just hear him, Attic, I did it! Damn it, I didn't record!
Yeah, dude.
I should have said, why don't you just reset? If you want to record.
Between me and Attic, we must have like 24 hours in footage, bro.
I recorded the majority of my game, so definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. It's probably way more than that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, this game is super, like I said, to me, the title for me when I make my review Attic is, this is the most addictive Souls-like game I've ever played. Attic, I'm not just saying that. I really mean that. It really makes me want to get back and like you feel you.
I mean, you're playing New Game Plus.
Getting better.
Yeah, it does have a New Game Plus. I don't think that's really a spoiler. People tend to want to know that information. So now, since we've talked about how you look, the particular gear you have, like I said, the gear is really based because there's no weight. It's really based on what you want to take less damage from in terms of physical attacks, in terms of like status effects. So it's pretty much like they do that, and this is my opinion, to really let you look how you want to look. Like there's no, I want to have this giant set of mean armor on that's like heavily armored. The only thing it realistically does is it doesn't really protect you from status effects. It just protects you from more of physical damage. And that's it. Like there's not like a whole lot goes into this. I would have appreciated full gear system. Like if you have a whole set of like Ming armor, it will give you an additional bonus for having the whole set on. I think that would have been cool. But besides that, I had no real issue the way they did this. I actually really enjoyed the way they did this because it was the first time where I felt like the only thing I had to focus on was what I was playing and not, besides the despair stuff. We've talked about that. If you get killed, I would, if you're just walking around and you're like exploring new areas, I would wear high despair stuff because like I said, there's no coming back if you don't have that on and you come across those areas with despair.
All right. And it does help again mitigate some of that. You know what I mean? Your meter is not building as fast. So it does help.
Let's talk a little bit about do you think this is fair challenging or frustrating challenging? Because I do think there's a difference.
I think it's fair challenging, but I understand if someone plays this and gets frustrated immediately and quits. I could see a lot of people are gonna play this game, die, and I just hope they give it a real full thorough chance and just stick with it because I'm telling you, I was dying from regular enemies, just regular guys. And you get hit a couple times in the beginning, you're done. You get hit a couple times, you're done. But once you understand the concept of the game, when those perfect dodges come in and you're hitting them with counterattacks, immediately you push down on your left stick, boom, and you're hitting them with those counterattacks. They're just so devastating to the enemy. You're like, oh, I get it. Perfect dodge, hit, perfect dodge, counter, perfect dodge, counter, counter, counter. And then you unlock more abilities, parries, blocking, all that. It's awesome.
I will say that this is one of the few Souls-like games where because they built so much of this system behind that Starborn and the perfect dodging, because there's other ways to build up Starborn that you unlock on the skill tree, but perfect dodging is the best way of doing it, that they're not playing with these bosses. There's not like this, like they're aggressive. A lot of the bosses in this game are mad aggressive. They will come on you and they will not get off you until you're dead. They are, and the reason that it's like that is because they have built this perfect dodge system and they want them to be aggressive because you do have, I would say, a more of a window of a perfect dodge than you would in like a typical From Software game. And that's the reason they're doing that is because they do want to be fair. If they're going to be pushing up on you as much as they are giving you the tools to succeed at these fights, but you have to learn them. And sometimes you can get away with, depending on what armor you have on, if someone's shooting lightning at you, puts that on. That way you do less damage. You can take more and you don't have to actually stay in the fight. But there was one particular boss, and I won't say it, and I know Blaze knows what I'm talking about, where this particular boss was in a forest, and it was one of those scenarios where it's like, get good or shut up and uninstall. There was no offense back. Get good or uninstall. That's it. There's no like cheese that you could do to get rid of them. Get good or uninstall. And I was stuck on that boss for a significant amount of time.
Yeah, no, I listen, that boss that boss was tough. That wasn't the one that took my lunch money. It came earlier. She took my lunch money. But this boss was really hard. The one you're talking about. We don't want to spoil this for you because there's such memorable fights, there's such personal fights, but this is what I will say. Everybody's going to want to invest into strength. Everybody's going to want to invest into vitality and your health and stuff like that. And to me, invest into stamina immediately. Because the more stamina you have, the more abilities you're going to get, the more chances you're going to get to dodge and build up counters and build up magic to pulverize these bosses. You need stamina in this game. You need it.
Because
you need health.
The perfect dodges themselves take stamina. So it's like when you're fighting some of these bosses and they're up on you, and you run out of stamina. I will say that the bosses have short outbursts, but there's almost zero recovery time between the next outburst. So they'll sit there and hit you like 4 or 5 times. You'll have like half a second, and then they've already flipped around, did a headbutt, and they're right back on you. Like
they're either going to give you a half a second to heal or a half a second to wipe the sweat off your head. You're not getting.
Sometimes I didn't even have that much time.
Right.
All right. So my last question I think we need to go into is if you were to compare this to a Souls-like game or maybe multiple Souls-like games, where would you tell the audience in what to expect if they played other Souls-like games, and what type of, maybe like not for one obviously, but in your
Yeah.
opinion, what would it be?
Listen, in my opinion, I think the game does enough to stand out on its own, addict. Honestly, obviously, all these games are influenced by something, right? So the whole Souls genre is exploding. But I would say, Bloodborne heavily. Bloodborne, the whole plague thing, the whole knocking on the doors, the whole dodging. The dodging system, no rolls, just dodge only. And I would say Sekiro because of strictly because of the counters, the parrying. When you get that longsword and you parry, you get that feel like you did in Sekiro, like that, and you're building up a meter, right? You can see that meter building up, and I would say it's a mixture of those two, but I do feel like it's unique enough to stand on its own as man, addict. I'm telling you, and I'm just saying, I know I told some people, they're probably not gonna like this, but I like this better. This is better than the Wukong. What was the other game? I'm sorry, with the monkey.
Wukong,
Yeah,
Wulong
Wukong.
or Wukong, I can't remember.
Wukong. I like this better than that. I like this better than Liza P. I
Yeah,
do.
people are gonna really come at you with that Liza P comment. Liza P is a
Listen,
love game.
listen, and people can come at me, but you know what else you can come at me for? I beat Liza P. I didn't just wait, hear how good it was. I beat it day one. I beat it in 5 days. I beat it in New Game Plus. I played that game for 150 hours. I love Liza P, but I like the combat. It's not. Listen, there's strengths of Liza P, there's strengths of this game, but I like the combat loop of this game. You know what I mean? I like the dodging. I love the dodging. This is why I love Bloodborne. I love that dodging effect. That I mean, I just like the gameplay loop. But Liza P is an excellent Souls like, one of the best Souls likes ever. Seriously, ever. But I just like this combat better, Attic. I do. It's more satisfying to me to. I didn't really struggle in Liza P. There was a few bosses, but not like this.
Bosses that frustrated you, but no bosses that made you struggle.
Yeah, like bro, I kind of ran through Liza P. To be fair, I ran through it. And the people that know me know. They seen it. Like I ran through that game.
I feel you. So we do something on here, Blaze, called "Do you give it the Iron Lord seal of approval?" Would you give them the Iron Lord seal of approval?
Hell yeah.
I would
Listen,
too. I
listen.
would too. This is
This
definitely,
is a
it's in Game
buy
Pass too.
immediately. Oh, if
So
it's
yeah, it's in Game Pass. But I do think that this is I don't know if this is like a bigger studio or a mid-sized studio or a small studio. I don't know anything about the studio really. Uh, I would say if you're going to support something that you're passionate about, this is worth the money too. I'm gonna be real with you. I don't even know how much it is because like I said, we were gifted the game, and shout out to them. But my thing is
$50.
that is reasonable.
Super reasonable.
Yeah, I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it.
I really hope people just, whether you're playing on game, this being on Game Pass is such a treat. You know what I mean? It really is. You know what I mean? And people might look, oh, listen, Liza P was on Game Pass. What a smash hit, what a success. I'm telling you, this game is one of them games where if you just stick, like, you just gotta believe in it. Like, you come back and you, like, I never, like, the ability to make you the gratification of coming back. I usually don't feel that way. And I've played so many Dark Souls, so many Elden Ring, so many Souls like games. Like, I didn't beat a boss. I don't like Solid Rev used to make, oh, you beat a boss and jump it. I'm like, Rev, I don't do that. But this game, there was one boss. I'm like, bro, I beat it. I beat it. Like, I was legit excited for it because it just got that effect on you. So I really hope people go out and support it. I hope it becomes a huge success because I think these devs are talented. And I think the gameplay loop people are going to get really addicted to, man. It's awesome. It's awesome.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it for it. Like we said, we played it on Steam. We played it on PC. Ran good. We enjoyed just about everything in this game. Shout out once again to 505 for providing what's the codes, and I do feel like you got your guys self a Game of the Year contender. I really do. But Blaze, tell the crowd where they can find you at. You'll be in the description too, by the way. So
Yeah. You guys can catch me on Solidcast every Saturday 9 p.m. and Solidcast After Hours every other Saturday at 11. Blaze 4K YouTube. I make traditional videos here and there, but mostly I'm pushing through with the podcast. I actually been streaming on Twitch a lot. I was streaming last night on Twitch. You know what I mean? Shout out to everybody that came through. Had decent numbers too for not even being on Twitch. Like there was a good chunk of people on Twitch last night. I was playing a little NCAA just to give my brain a break. But that was a mistake because I got my butt kicked. Anyway, but yeah, that's it, man. I appreciate all the love and support. Addict, salute to you. Salute to the Iron Lords. Shout out to everybody that's gonna watch this. Go give this game a shot. And yeah.
And this podcast was sponsored by King, because without King giving Blaze his code, we couldn't have played. We couldn't have done
Yo, King, listen. Shit. We'll talk. I love that. Salute to King, bro. My man, bro.
And that is it for us. Hope you guys enjoyed just as much as we did. And this is Lord Addict and Blaze, and we're out.
Peace.